What's up everyone, Travis here with Salerno Realty Broker. Yes, I did just upgrade that title. I am a broker now. I don't know, it took a long time for me to get that because I just kept postponing, but we're here now, pinnacle of real estate. So we're moving on, and this video I want to talk to my first-time home buyers and give a little bit of insight on, you know what, it's very hard in the Greater Toronto area to get a house. It's hard for us to do anything as first-time home buyers in the Greater Toronto area, pretty much priced out of the market, and you know what, it might feel like your back's against the wall, but I'm gonna talk about the land transfer tax rebate for first-time home buyers right now, and maybe you might qualify for this. So when you do purchase a home, make sure you talk to your lawyer about it, and we're gonna break it down and talk about exactly what it does for you and if you might benefit from this. So to start out, I want to just say that this is specifically for Ontario, and obviously I'm in the Greater Toronto area, but again, this is specifically for Ontario. I know other provinces have different type of programs, so I just want to first just say, you know what, this is for Toronto. If you live in BC, Quebec, anywhere else, and what I say right now might not apply to you. This land transfer tax rebate, it's pretty great. If you buy a home, you could be eligible for up to $4,000 in Ontario, and in Toronto, an additional $4,475 if you do meet the guidelines. So first of all, let's talk about why this exists. So in Ontario and Canada, but in Ontario, when you buy a home, you gotta pay land transfer tax. It's part of your closing costs. I mean, I hate tax, and I understand why people say that buying a home isn't really an investment because you gotta pay all these fees all the time. But basically, when you buy a home, you gotta pay a land transfer tax, and I mean, it can get pretty pricey. And even in Toronto, you pay, just for living in Toronto, you pay double that amount, which I don't understand why they do it, but you pay ×2 of the Ontario land transfer tax. These fees can get pretty big. I'll tell you right now, it goes into your closing costs, which can be ginormous, and that's gotta come out of your pocket. The last home I purchased back in March, our land transfer tax was $25,000, had to come directly out of my pocket. And I mean, if you're a lawyer or a mortgage broker, maybe answer down below. I don't understand why these can't go onto your mortgage. Like, when qualifying for a mortgage, they take your GDS, TDS, heat, all that kind of stuff, and they attribute it to your payments. And I don't know why they can't just add this in the ratios to see if you can just roll it into your mortgage and then be approved that way. It would be so much easier if you could just pay that whole land transfer tax and put it onto your mortgage and pay that over 25 years. Regardless, it is what it is, and you can't really get past tax, so you gotta pay it, and whatever. So how does it work? So a first-time home buyer of an eligible home can apply for this tax rebate, and it's pretty simple to get. There's a few guidelines, but we're gonna go over them right now. So first of all, to get this refund, after you purchase your home, you have to apply for it within 18 months of you signing title. In most cases, the lawyers already know about this kind of stuff. They ask you the questions beforehand, before your signing meeting, and they know for a fact beforehand if you're a first-time home buyer or if you're gonna be eligible for this tax rebate. Regardless though, if you are a first-time home buyer, I would talk to your lawyer about it just so you don't miss out on it. Most likely you won't, but there are cases where people don't know about it and they end up not getting it. So in order to qualify for this rebate, you do have to meet a few criteria points, and we're gonna go over them right now. So first of all, it's pretty clear, but this has to be your first purchase. You cannot have purchased a home in Canada or even anywhere in the world. This has to be your first purchase, and there's no exceptions around it. This has to be your first one. Next, you have to be at least 18 years old, and on top of that, this home has to be your primary residence. So within 9 months of you signing paperwork with the lawyer, you have to have lived in this home within those 9 months for you to be eligible for the rebate. So if you're thinking about purchasing your first home as a straight up investment and never living in it and just having a tenant rent it out, you may not be eligible for this rebate. The next point, it might not apply to you, but it is something to take into account. But if you do have a spouse, that spouse could not have purchased a home or anything like that in another country, in this country either. Obviously, if you're single, more power to you, but I mean, things can get a little bit complicated when you have a spouse, and if they've purchased something beforehand, or if they had purchased something before you were together, things can be a little bit complicated, so I would just talk to your lawyer about that beforehand, and they'll be able to sort everything out. And then there's a few additional criteria, and those are pretty simple. Gotta take a phone call, sorry about that. Hey brother. All right, sorry about that. So as I was saying, there are some additional requirements that, I mean, you gotta be a Canadian citizen and you have to be a permanent resident. Other than that though, you should be pretty good to go. And if you do have any other questions, again, just talk to your lawyer or contact me and we can go over your file and see exactly what our options are. All right, so now let's take a look and see how this actually works. So when a first-time home buyer purchases their first house, part of their closing cost is land transfer tax. To calculate this, it's pretty simple. It's a simple equation. I'm gonna put it up on the screen and walk you through it right now. So the first $55,000 are subject to a 0.5% tax rate. The next $195,000 is subject to a 1% tax rate. Then the next $150,000 is subject to a 1.5 tax rate. And then the next $1.6 million up to $2 million is subject to a 2% tax rate. And then any amount above $2 million where the big money is subject to a 2.5% tax rate. So basically when you're purchasing a home, $368,000 is that special number that if you're at that number or below it, you're not paying any land transfer tax, you're getting that full rebate back. But if you're over that amount, then we can do a simple calculation to actually see how much you're gonna be paying on top of the $4,000. So let's look at a quick calculation for someone who purchases a house in, let's say, Brampton for $500,000. I don't think you can buy a house in Brampton for $500,000, maybe a condo, but let's look over it. Mind you, my handwriting is terrible. So I wrote it down, but just don't make fun of me, whatever, let's talk about it. All right, so if a purchase price is $500,000, the first $55,000 is gonna be a charge of $275. Then the next $195,000 goes to about $1,950. And then after that, the next $150,000 gives you $2,250. And then finally, the amount that goes up to $500,000, which is $95,000, gets taxed the amount of $1,900. So for a $500,000 home, your land transfer tax is gonna be $6,375. And just simply speaking, of that money, $4,000 is gonna come back to you. So you're actually only gonna be paying $2,375 worth of tax on closing. And in Toronto, it's so stupid. I don't know why they do it, but that same $500,000 condo, just for it being in Toronto, that's $6,375 is times 2. So you're actually paying $12,750. But in Toronto, your rebate is an additional $4,475. So you get the $4,000 plus $4,475 equals $8,475. So the land transfer tax is $12,750, but you get a rebate of $8,475, which means you're actually only paying $4,275. So I mean, is it amazing? Yeah, I mean, it's cool. It's a lot of money that you're getting back, but when you're looking at home prices where, you know, the entry-level townhome in Brampton or Mississauga is above $800,000, I mean, we need a little bit more guidance, a little bit more help from the government if the prices are going to continue to rise, which I really do think they're going to, because Toronto, the reason why Toronto is such a great place that all these companies keep coming to Toronto is because it's an amazing place to live. So I don't see the prices going down. If prices were going to be going down, you would see companies leaving Toronto, not Google, Pinterest. All these companies are coming to Toronto. So I don't see the prices dropping. I think this is great. I think it helps a little bit, but I think there still needs a little bit more help for first-time home buyers, because it's getting to a point like Los Angeles and New York, even Vancouver, prices are getting a little bit too out of hand where, you know, first-time home buyers need to get some help. Or you do what I did. I moved out of the city. I moved an hour out of the city, got my house, and then I moved back into the city after I got the appreciation. So at the end of the day, it's helpful, but we do need more help for first-time home buyers. As always, thank you so much for watching this video. It's the Modern Realtor, Travis with Salerno Realty. As always, punch that subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching, guys. We'll talk to you guys soon.